Welcome to Finance Friends with Fabian, where we give our listeners an opportunity to be a part of our conversation with financial services industry leaders. Hear their stories, the challenges they've overcome, and the invaluable advice they have for anyone interested in the financial world. Keep up to date with us by following Finance Friends Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Welcome, Frank Campisi, to Finance Friends with Fabian. How are you today?
Good, mate. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming into our office on Collins Street. It's great to have you. So tell us a little bit about you, Frank. What's your profession and maybe a little bit about your personal life?
Well, mate, I'm a mortgage broker. So I've been a mortgage broker for the last 9-10 years. Prior to that, I was in public practice as an accountant. Sort of made a bit of a career change early on. I was about 24 and started my own business as a mortgage broker and haven't really looked back, to be honest. You know, the freedom, flexibility of the job is great, and it allows me to sort of get that balance of family, work, holiday, fun, and all that all in one. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
So maybe let's talk about your family. So you recently had a third child, a baby girl. What's her name?
Baby Pippa. So
Pippa, fantastic.
So we have baby Pippa. I've got a 4-year-old Jasmine, 3-year-old Freddie, and 8-week-old Pippa. So we've been busy. COVID didn't have much to do in COVID, so, so things are busy. But it's good. It's good. It's challenging. It's sometimes the most challenging part of the day is sometimes dealing with kids. There's no right or wrong or no book that you can read. So it's every day is a new day. So it sort of sets you straight and sort of prioritises what you do work wise and what you do. Every day. Yeah,
and it wouldn't be as rewarding if it wasn't as challenging.
Correct.
Anything that is super rewarding is challenging. It doesn't come easy.
Yeah, you get over one problem and the next day is another one. So happy days.
So let's maybe take a step back in terms of you started your career. So did you do an accounting degree?
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually started an engineering degree. Did 2 years of that and didn't think it was the right path for me. Ended up jumping into accounting. Did that, fast-tracked that with a few recognitions of prior learning.
Yep.
And done that about 2 years and, jumped out to a firm out in Footscray. So I got an opportunity out there and, got working. And
what type of accounting were you doing? Was it tax accounting? Yeah. Was it advisory?
Yeah, tax accounting. Yeah. So being a grad, we didn't I left, as a grad, I suppose. Didn't get to sort of experience, enough time to get into that business services and advisory. So a lot of it was just back end stuff, and kind of saw the writing on the wall when at that point everyone started going offshore, and soon enough, those jobs are at risk, and you could obviously offshore. Data entry quite easily, and that's kind of what you get going as a graduate accountant. Yeah. So I think it's a bit different now. They don't jump in doing debits and credits. They jump in a bit more in the on the hairy stuff. So, sort of found that after a couple of years of working for someone, it wasn't for me. So I thought, living at home, mum and dad. What a better opportunity to sort of jump in and try something. Pretty much a laptop and a diploma, and was it $4,000 or $5,000 setup cost, and you're on your way. So
and maybe at what point did you realise that maybe being an accountant wasn't for you?
Yeah, well, I don't always want to reflect everything back to money, but started as a grad on a $40,000 salary, including super, including everything else, and just I saw some of the boys there and what they were sort of earning 5, 6, 7 years later, and I thought at that time when you're on 40 grand, housing prices are where they are, and I thought, well, how am I actually going to get ahead in life, and at what point am I going to get there? So I kind of looked and said, well, I need to change it up. I need either accelerate my career within accounting or try something new, and numbers have always made sense to me. So worked really well for me. You thought, what, let's give it a go. Can always go back. Again, I was lucky. I've got a father who's very supportive of it. When I first told him, it was a bit, how you doing about it? But after that, I thought, he saw, put the head down, bum up, started working, networking. It was a slow burn at the start.
So why mortgage broking? So you've told me why was money was a reason, but how did you go from thinking, okay, debits, credits, let's lodge your personal, ITR to actually saying, you know what, I want to help people to get finance for a home.
Yep. I suppose, I did, I went for a few job interviews in banking just to sort of, I suppose I didn't know really what I was getting into. Sort of thought, you know what, let's give something else a try. This is not loving it. So, let's maybe try banking. Sort of looked at the corporate world, sales. I like to think I'm a good people's person. Some people say I don't shut up. So, get talking. And, I sort of thought, well, let's try something a bit different. Didn't really know what I was getting myself into at that point in time, but I just knew I needed to change. I kind of went out on a limb thinking, well, either like it or I won't like it, but I'll find out pretty fast. And worst case, in 12 months, I realised I didn't like it. I go somewhere else, go back to accounting. Kind of also had in the back of my mind, it's not really hard to make 40 grand. So, it's, I was doing 40 hours a week and then, come tax time, you had to do extra and all that kind of stuff. And I get it comes with, it comes to the territory of being a tax accountant, but kind of thought it wasn't hard to replace that. You didn't have to you do the numbers.
Couple of deals.
It's not that many deals. And it's like, so, hit that pretty fast. And, I was pretty smug about that. But, so to be honest, jumped in it kind of unknown.
And how old are you at this point?
Would have been about
25, 26?
23, 24.
Okay.
Yeah, so, or maybe 24 actually, because I've 10 years. Yeah, so 24 would have been. So, so that had its challenges there. Being young, trying to get people to trust us with their money and their life decisions, and trying to get that across. It was I do recall, and I've said it to her in the past. One of the managers at the accounting firm just said, when I was leaving, I feel you'll struggle because of your age and getting people to trust you. A couple of years later, I went, I'll start helping them on some of their clients. And I said, well, took what you said and took it on board. And, was at the start, I kind of found it a bit disheartening. But at the same time, I then said, well, let's use it again since prove it wrong. So,
use it as a motivator.
Yeah. So I think I did, I turned that pretty well. And I've got some, quite, I saw the challenges. I saw the older gentleman and that I was dealing with at that point as a business mentor. So I had a mentor when I got into the industry.
Yeah.
I saw, I kind of saw them and trying to speak to them. And I just saw that, they saw me as a kid. But again, use that, do better, work harder, and just sort of overcome that. And I let my numbers, my offerings come out there and show people what I can actually do. And, there's a lot of brokers out there that are great at their job. Then there's some that are just salesmen, and that's reality is what, as a broker, you're a salesman for a bank, you sell a product, or you work for the client but sell a bank product in a sense. But it's that next level where you go into that detail and, help to, jump into the taxes side of things and help to, sort of motivate them to make their money work better for them, and not look people as a client, but as a customer, a long-term thing. So.
So long-term client rather than a short-term customer.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So for people that don't know what a mortgage broker is, obviously our podcast is targeted to people across, maybe that might be looking at switching careers or, studying finance, or even maybe 15 or 16-year-old doesn't know what they want to do. So what does a mortgage broker actually do in layman's terms?
Yeah, okay. So, a mortgage broker will go out and navigate the finance world on a client's behalf. So a client will come to us with a scenario, or, hey, I want to do this. And then our job is to go out there and look at what banks are offering, what policies are out there that best suit the client. So, when you work for a bank, you're very well adverse around their one policy or their offerings. Yep. But as a mortgage broker, I've got 53 odd lenders on my panel, and again, I don't know all of them back to front, but you got the main ones, and for self-employed clients, you end up here. So it's just a matter of as a mortgage broker, you need to know bank policy and need to know how to not every glove will fit everyone. So you kind of find the right person there, right lender, I suppose, and then come back with options and. I think part of the role as a mortgage broker is not just to do that, but also to educate the clients as to why, because ultimately they make the decision. I've always said the last thing I want is a client to blame me for something we've done.
Yeah.
I like to educate and make them make the decision they know the rationale as to why we've done it.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, there's no crystal ball that tells us, what's coming up. So if something does go pear-shaped, they know that could happen. They know the risks, and obviously what we can do at that point later on. But ultimately, I like to educate the clients so they're on the same page and they're making decisions. And I say to them, I'm not always going to be a mortgage broker. Mortgage brokers, we like to think like accountants. So usually you get with one and you like to stay with them for a while. But ultimately, as people change, they get into relationships and businesses and people tend to move.
Yeah.
So,
right. So in terms of a mortgage broker, ultimately you provide the best finance solutions in the market for that client's situation.
Correct.
So that might be buying their first home. It might be if they want to borrow money for a business real property, or if they want to buy a commercial property, or even, potentially do you do finance for businesses?
Yeah, so we do a lot of cash flow lending and things like that. So I like to think that as a broker, we offer a solution. Rate is always a hot topic, but some people, unfortunately, decisions in their life and the way things have turned out, they haven't got the benefit of going and taking the best rate at that point in time.
Yeah.
So it's a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
And we work at then, we get them on board, get that sorted, and then work at the next stage. So, we do business finance, we do asset finance. Super funds now are starting to really, take motion. There's a lot of lenders have pulled out of the market, but the ones that are doing it well.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's just another vehicle for people to invest in. And, while the money's sort of tight, people have got some cash in their super and are opting to, invest in that space.
Fantastic. No, that's really great. So obviously you spoke about earlier in the podcast around having 3 young kids, which keep you on your toes, no doubt, amongst many other projects outside of working as a self-employed mortgage broker.
Yep.
But what does your typical day look like?
Yeah, okay. So, lots of coffee. Lots and lots of coffee.
As you just had a sip of your coffee.
Correct. So I'm trying to cut that down. So, but a lot. So we sort of get in, we do spend a lot of time on the phone, chasing banks and, chasing clients. So, from a day-to-day stuff, we a phone call will come in from a referrer of ours. We mainly just deal with referrers ourselves. Obviously, cold calls would be great too, but they don't sort of come in as well as referral phone calls.
So that might be referrals from an accountant or a lawyer or an existing client, etc.
Yep. So that's where we spend a lot of our time in building those relationships, because they're very fruitful. And I suppose when you've got a good team around you between accountants, lawyers, the clients do feel at home a lot easier. So we spend a lot of time on them. So, if a call might come in from a referrer, we'll call the client, engage in a conversation around, what they're looking to do just on a high level. And it all sounds all good. We'd sort of talk what they want to do. Is it achievable? Some people aren't very realistic in their expectations. Some people have, a lot of people do what we call Sunday barbecue talk, where my friend's got this, I want this. So we sort of, pull them back to earth sometimes. We have those upfront conversations and let them know the process. And then, we sort of get across to them and we'll get some info out. They'll start collating information. And then we'll start, really looking at policies if needed. Some are, we don't get as many as I'd like, but some are, nice vanilla deals that, but they're a unicorn. So, ultimately then, a lot of people just chase rates, if there's cashbacks, that kind of jazz. So sort of really get into the market, pull some comparisons up, get them onto the client.
So it's a lot of time chasing up banks, understanding what's happening in the market, updating your clients, submitting deals, etc.
Correct.
And then just following up to make sure that everything's running smoothly.
Correct. Yeah, we also put a lot of effort into relationships with the banks, with our BDMs, understanding new policies and not just sort of reading them, but actually understanding them and workshopping them with the BDM. So, as much as we want to build that relationship with the bank itself, ultimately it's the BDM that holds most of the weight there. So we build those relationships, and the better those relationships are, when you have a deal that's sort of struggling a little bit with a policy, you can really lean on the BDM to help iron that out.
Fantastic, because obviously you deal with banks and then non-banks as well.
Correct.
Which is, they've become quite they're growing, especially a lot bigger in the US, but in Australia they seem to be.
I think the big four were once, I find the we'll call them the old school, will try to remain with the big four. They just feel comfortable with them. But a lot of the new generation, will go with your Macquarie's, your Suncorps, and you kind of look at those banks and think, well, they're great banks, great offerings, great policies. But a lot of people aren't open to,
considering.
They want to see, they want a branch, and then you ask them, when's the last time you walked in a branch, and they can't remember. So we started to sort of educate people as to why, other banks are worth looking at. And then obviously there's some clients that don't even have second tiers. They've made decisions in life that have, or unfortunate things have popped up where they've now got to go to a third tier bank. And we deal with that and we work through that.
We might move on and just get an understanding of what makes what are the give me 3 key skills required to be a successful mortgage broker.
Yeah, okay. I think listening is very key. Understanding what the client wants. Because a lot of people will sort of, want finance. That's one thing, but really understanding what they want, and that way you can give them the best solution.
So listening would be one.
Listening. This one's caught me off guard.
What do you think your best skills are? Networking.
Networking, listening,
building relationships,
and actually caring. It sounds pretty silly to say, but actually caring about the outcome for the client. So I kind of take things a bit more personal, and things don't go the client's way. I feel it and I wear it. So but no, definitely listening. You need to have a good understanding on numbers and what they look like and how they work, and real world, how the real world works. It's just not just a scenario on paper like in training and when you do your diploma. It's actually real world. If you're 3 months late to get the settlement across, someone's losing out on money. So just having some compassion as well. I think if you can tick those off, the computer and the systems now can do the rest for you. Exactly. They can work out repayments. You're not having to work all that out yourself. You plug it into the computer and they do all that work. But just being a real human is probably key.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your business. So maybe how big's the business? How many clients would you look after? Ongoing. Give me a bit of insight into your business.
Okay. So Explore Finance, we sort of started about 2 years ago. So prior to that, I was Marksman Finance, solo broker. Being a broker can also be a bit lonely. So I teamed up with our business partner, Luke Assigal, and we sort of pushed Explore Finance, and kind of, he looks after operations and business growth. And he, while I focus on the clients, someone's working on the business to help grow the business. We had a book at that point. We had a book for about, I'd like to say about 350 million, I reckon, in business written. And within 6 months, we actually bought another book of equal size. Which was, it was a scary process. But in saying that, the gentleman we bought it from is a good operator. He still runs a financial planning business, and we still work a lot together. So it works out. It's worked out really well, I think. So it was quite scary to sort of commit to something like that. But it's been very fruitful, which is good. So I suppose now we've got to double the size in terms of clients to look after. And I think in today's the environment today, hiring's been a bit difficult. I mean, you know all about it at Riva Recruitment. But it's kind of one of those things where we've had a few unfortunate hires. We're learning as we go what we look for, what not to look for, and a few of them, have been kind of been on the bum a few times where you put people on, you call in a lot of work now because you want to feed them work, and then it doesn't work out. Now I've needed to maintain that work, so big hours. So it's Luke and I. We've got 2 offshorers. We have Alina out in Zimbabwe.
Oh wow!
So she's trained by another broker here in Melbourne who does really well, and she trains them, so they sort of they know the mortgage broker industry, and they do a lot of our back end data entry, collating documentation, liaising with the clients and collecting everything. While we then focus on the solutions for the clients, I suppose.
Fantastic.
So,
and now touching a little bit more on you. So you talked about obviously starting engineering, going into accounting, and then working as a mortgage broker and being setting your own business up at 24. And you talked about your dad supporting you. Has your dad been the biggest influence on you in your career, or is there someone that comes to mind?
Pretty much, from a father figure to just I suppose just his work ethic, in life. I suppose it, you don't really sort of talk about it all that much, but it obviously has reflected and has helped pave the way for me. So, I reckon subconsciously somewhere there as well, it's, just sort of see that work ethic, the big hours, so you're not afraid, don't care about work and doing all that. So, I'd say, definitely he, he's played a big role in that. And, as much as, family values, values, traditions and that kind of stuff. So, so it's really set me up, I think. So,
awesome. And outside of work, we've spoken about having 3 kids. You're a big Richmond supporter.
Yeah.
So
I don't know anymore, but
as the last 5 years, you're up and about, maybe dropped off a little bit with lots of draft picks coming up. I think you'll be pretty excited over the next few years. You've also live out in Romsey and have a big farm with lots of lamb.
So we run 180 head sheep. Got about 6 Angus at the moment, so keeps me busy. So actually from finance to shearing, last week shearing the sheep. So people always have a laugh and what are you doing? It's like, I'm shearing sheep. Well, what are you talking about? So it's a good break. It's a good breakup, I suppose, from that world to just out there. I mean,
getting out in fresh air is great. Correct, and then you also set up and run a childcare business too.
Yeah, so we started up Little Stones now. We've been 14 months operating out of Romsey. We've got another 3 sites coming up now. So, the idea is, the wife does really good job, has done a really good job getting that up and running. Now she's obviously tending to the family and the little one, and we've hired a director to run Romsey at the moment, which is doing really well. Helps when you've got good families and good people working for you as well. So, we like to sort of celebrate those little wins. But
and I think that's really important you say that, because obviously, you run your own mortgage business, you've got a farm, and you've got 150 you said sheep, and then you got cows. You've also running a childcare business that you're growing. So how do you just keep going and pushing? What's the success, or what do you think the key traits to just having that go-getter attitude?
Coffee. But I don't know. I like to always keep busy. I don't think there's. I love what I do. I love business in general. So, finance is obviously a big part of it. But I love just business. I love new stuff. I like challenges. I've always, doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm always trying to do something. So the wife, she always says just slow down. Even my dad, slow down. You've got plenty of time. You're 34, so take your time. But not that I just like to get going. I want to, the idea is, by 40, 45, I'm kind of a lot more chilled out, more time with the kids, can travel and do all that. So, put the effort in now, but at the same time not lose
side of what's important.
Correct. The kids, time and all that. I'm hoping I'll be able to get off a little bit early today and go trick-or-treating with the kids tonight. So just trying to enjoy those little things. So little things that the kids, means so much to the kids. You don't think, as an adult, you don't think much of it, but it's all everything to them. So just trying to tick those little boxes. So, try to, obviously Romsey's from where I operate out of Essendon is about an hour drive. So big drive in. But, I kind of, sort of wait around just to see the kids before they get up, because I know it's a late night, So, little things like that just, help you keep going. And it doesn't matter how bad of a day you get when you get home and the little ones are there. That's it. Phone's away and nothing else matters. So, just go hard like that.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you and your time, and thanks for sharing insight into your career and your success.
Oh, thank you.
And also about being a mortgage broker and what that entails. And look forward to catching up again soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
And that's the wrap for this episode and for our first season of Finance Friends with Fabian. It's been an incredible journey thus far, bringing you stories, insights and advice from some of the most inspiring voices in the financial services industry. We want to take a moment to thank our listeners for tuning in and supporting Finance Friends with Fabian. Your encouragement and feedback has meant the world to us, and we can't wait to bring you more exciting people and stories and conversations in 2025. From all of us from Finance Friends with Fabian, have an amazing, enjoyable holiday over the break. Thank you from myself, Fabian Ruggieri, and Sienna Bartolomeo, our producer. See you in 2025.
Disclaimer. This podcast exists for informational and entertainment purposes only. The personal opinions of the speaker and guests do not represent the view of any other party. If this recording contains reference to financial products, that reference does not constitute advice nor recommendations and may not be relied upon.